Приветствую всех, с вами я, Макрон9.3, и мы с вами сейчас сыграем в такую модификацию для Half-Life 2 под названием The Stanley Parable, то есть притча о Стэнли. Она будет рассказывать нам о обыкновенном работнике под номером 427 по имени Стэнли, который выполнял свои приказы, которые ему давало начальство, но случилось нечто непредвиденное. Что именно, мы увидим в самой игре. И чем же сама модификация выделяется среди остальных? Тем, что у нее 6 концовок. И я постараюсь в этом ролике, ну точнее не в этом, скорее всего я не уложусь, постараюсь в серии роликов показать все концовки данной модификации. Сама модификация на английском, но, слава богу, в последней версии появились русские субтитры, так что вы будете понимать, что говорит сам рассказчик. Ну и давайте, в принципе, начнем с основного прохождения модификации, и потом перейдем к остальным 5 концовкам. Точнее, ну, вы поняли уже. Тут присутствует своя нелинейность, в общем. Ну и давайте начинать.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor next to his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Ну вот так вот.
And then one day something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on a monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and walked out into the hallway.
Так, и вот нам дают управление как раз-таки самим персонажем. Ну и в принципе получается так, приказы перестали поступать, и нам нужно выяснить почему.
Stanley decided to go to the staff lounge to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Так, и тут у нас две двери.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ладно, пойдем в левую. 507, 508. Так, ладно, 509, 510.
As Stanley entered the lounge, he was horrified to find not a single person here. He decided he would walk up to see his boss, hoping that he would find an answer there.
Ага, дверь открылась. Окей.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Хорошо. А вот и кабинет босса.
Entering his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. It was at this point that he began to feel dizzy and a little sick, and even thought he might pass out when suddenly he noticed a keypad next to the filing cabinet in the corner of his boss's office. Stanley had never seen this panel before and had no idea what combination of numbers would produce any result. In fact, only Stanley's boss knew this, since the panel withheld access to the boss's greatest, darkest secret, and so he had assigned the keypad a combination that only he could possibly know. The number of his freshman dorm number in college. 1957. But of course, Stanley couldn't, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Конечно, невероятно. Конечно.
Stanley ventured forth into the newly opened passageway.
Конечно, невероятно. Случайным образом набрали код. Конечно, да. Ну ладно, продвигаемся дальше.
As he drew deeper into the bowels of the building, Stanley had no idea where he was or what this place held. And just as he began to think he might not discover a thing, he emerged into a long room to find
Которые были
rows and rows
ряды за рядами экранов. И над каждым экраном был номер.
Stanley noticed, however, that these were not random numbers, but the number of employees who worked in the
А вот
building, his
427-й.
co-workers.
Наш экран.
Even his own number, 427, had a place on the wall. But why is set up so elaborate, he asked. Was this simple
Кстати, что
surveillance
забавно, я
or
не могу
something
прыгать.
even more? And as if in answer to his question, the wall slid open before him,
Стена
revealing
поднялась
the
перед ним.
ultimate truth
Вау.
of the situation.
Офигенно. Стена, называется, убралась. Окей.
An enormous control panel Stanley discovered, but not one that controlled simple machinery. Buttons were labeled with emotions. Happy, sad. Levers and knobs controlled actions. Walking, eating, doing work, or watching TV. Every input on this device monitored not the functions of a machine, but of a human being. And the reality began to sink in. Stanley, like so many other people, reduced to images on a monitor, had been under someone's control, always at the mercy of this machine. Could this have been the only reason employee number 427 was content with his boring job? That a machine had altered his emotions to accept it blindly? He began to feel an unbridled rage, and at the peak of his anger, something happened. A spark. Stanley looked up and saw the generator overhead, still providing some small amount of power to the machine, keeping it alive. And knowing that this generator was all that kept the controls running, Stanley moved to the ladder in the back of the room and began to climb towards the rafters.
Так, а вот и лестница. Ну, короче, как вы поняли, на самом деле шеф давал нам приказы отсюда и управлял всеми нашими эмоциями. Поэтому мы, несмотря на то, что даже и вроде, ну, как и нудной работой занимались, однако мы все равно поэтому радовались, потому что он управлял нашими эмоциями вот с этих пультов, скажем так. Ну и мы поднимаемся наверх, чтобы отключить данную установку.
The higher Stanley climbed, the closer he felt to freedom, the further from enslavement.
Так, не с этой стороны. Так, еще немного, и мы освободимся. Так, и вот, получается, engage и disable. Ну, disable, понятно, это отключить. Крутим вентиль. И... все. Опс, что мы сделали?
Blackness, power gone, all alone, and then...
Свет. Свобода. Прекрасно.
As he stepped through the door, into the fresh outside air, a feeling of liberation rushed through Stanley's body. He had seen power, he had seen enslavement, and he had destroyed it. The underling was in control now. He had found his leading role. Stanley never discovered why everyone had gone missing, nor how and when he had come under the machine's control. But it didn't upset him terribly, because he knew that this was how things were meant to happen. All he felt was a delight unlike any he had ever known before. Never again would he follow someone else's orders without question. Never again would anyone tell Stanley where to go, what to do, or how to feel. No more bosses, no more instructions on a screen. Stanley decides for himself now.
Потрясающе.
And he stepped out into the world, and he felt the cool breeze upon his skin, and Stanley was happy.
И вот на этом и заканчивается главная концовка, оригинальная, в данной модификации. Посмотрим, что же он будет делать.
Oh, Stanley.
Что?
You didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Нет.
After it kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Ну да.
Stanley. Stanley. I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do.
Почему?
You were meant to let it go. Turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do better than that.
Ну, вот так.
I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you have. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized that he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Oh, let's make it say, 2 minutes. Now, this is making things a little more fun, isn't it?
Да вообще супер.
Go ahead. Play with those controls all you like. The real controls are where I'm sitting. Did you really ever believe you held any power? Did you not think I knew what I was doing? When I erased your co-workers and turned off the machine, I was offering you freedom, an escape. I didn't have to do that. I've run this story many times, and I don't always set you free. Sometimes you just sit there, day after day after day, doing your job forever, and then dying alone. But when I actually give you the freedom to control your own actions, it's not enough. I let you go, and you trap yourself just the same. You just weren't made to handle this sort of responsibility, I'm afraid. But you know what you were made for? Pushing buttons.
Супер.
You get it now? Oh, I'm enjoying this. Tell you what, I'll throw some extra time on the clock just because I'm having so much fun. There we go.
О, минута 47.
I want to watch you for every long second you try to puzzle this out. After all, it should make sense, right? The timer, the nuclear detonation, the mysterious facility, it's all here. This is a video game. Except for one thing there, hero. You've got no weapon, no vehicle. You don't even know where you're going.
Ну да.
When you saw that timer, you just instinctively started trying to find an exit, didn't you?
Ну да.
In fact, I bet you're still looking for a way out. I bet you're clicking on everything in this room, trying to open doors.
Вентиляционные люки я не пробовал, кстати.
Solve the puzzle. As though this game has a solution, as though it can be won.
Ну да.
That timer is not a catalyst to keep things moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. It's the moment when the hero realizes that despite his best efforts, he is powerless to his environment. And then he lets go.
Да нет.
And he dies.
Я не умру, хрен тебе.
30 seconds, Stanley. 30 seconds. Until a boom, and then nothing.
Нет.
No ending to this story, just you dying. I suppose you could have gotten an actual ending if you played along, but that just wouldn't have been your style, would it? Instead, you'll perish knowing that the only choice you made here was to turn on that machine.
Ну откуда я знал, что отсчет включу, а?
But you won't be alone, because I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here to watch
9 секунд.
of your inevitable life from the time we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Блин.